my friends, welcome back. Today I would like to talk about pausing, the pause, and how important that is to bring that quality of pausing in our life. In a way, pausing is the essence of meditation. It's one of the very quality of meditation. When we sit and we close our eyes, we're pausing and we stretch the pause. And as well as when we are mindful of what we do in action, it's also in a way we're pausing. We're giving a break through the pause to the continuous obsession with the future or regret from the past. It's a way to become present and to access the present moment. Pausing is necessary, really necessary now, especially in our Western civilization, because doing has become almost an obsessive compulsive action. And there are different reasons for that. We talked a little bit about it in previous sessions. One that I would like to underline today is that the society, the Western society, and particularly the consumeristic, capitalistic model that they presented to us is very much centered around having, about possessing. Materially, you might want to have a new car, or you might want to have a bigger house, or you might want to have the latest iPhone, whatever that is. There is so much material product that is put out in front of our eyes constantly, and we've been bombarded about, you need this, you absolutely need this. And so on the outside there is a constant stimulation in wanting to possess more, even if we really look, we don't need it. And in the inside also there is that, not only for material thing, but there is as we talked about it in don't remember what sessions, but we did this desire to want to become something that we're not, or to become something that we would be better if we become that, or we can improve in ourselves. And it's like proving ourselves constantly to ourselves, to other people, to the world, wanting recognition, wanting approval. This is all part of having, yeah? So human beings have been moving from the state of being to doing for having, yeah? So there is being, doing, having. From being we move to doing, so that we end up in having. Yeah, we do all kind of things so that we can have something. So this puts in action an engine that is almost always going, internally and externally. So pausing means in any time during the day, we take a pause. We just make it a habit. And the simple way I do is I pause, I close my eyes, take a deep breath, and observe. Move into sensing. Sense the inner body. Yeah, but if you don't know about the inner body, please watch the video. There is a special video that talks about the inner body. Sense the inner body. Watch if there is any maybe tendency to start doing as soon as possible. Observe that. Do not judge anything that you perceive. rest in this pause for a little bit. Inhabit that pause. Because this pause gives you access, immediate access to the present moment. Ta-da! That's the thing we like, yeah? The present moment. We want to live life, and life is always in the present moment. So beautiful. The pause is a way to become more alive, become immersed in this life that is happening in this ever-present moment. So do this as an exercise, do it as a practice. Maybe pause every hour for a minute. And when you open your eyes and start doing again, watch, did something change? And you will be surprised. There is a completely different quality in your doing. You can do this especially when you do things that you do every day, daily routine, or things that you almost do mechanically, or things that you have to do every day anyway. It can be anything, every time you get into the car, sit for a moment and pause. Or it can be before starting a meal. That's a beautiful moment too. Or it can be in the middle of brushing your teeth, or in the middle of a walk. Don't worry, people might think you're a little loony, but you can stop. And you can also pause without closing your eyes and without physically stopping. So you can do that when you're alone, but also when you're with people. It's just the sensing in our body, becoming aware of what is happening, what is unfolding in this moment for me. If I completely stop and I give up the impulse that I had to do certain things, and I take that energy that was going outward into doing, and I reverse it and direct it towards myself, towards this moment. Sensing, being present, watching whatever arises. There might be, the mind might go like, no, I have to do this thing, come on. We have a deadline, famous deadline that most of the time we create in our mind. Just watch whatever it is. Pause, take a few more breaths, then start again, and you will be surprised what a different quality is in the doing. So, and I want to make sure you don't misunderstand me that there is something wrong in the doing. The doing itself is not the problem. It's doing without consciousness, without presence that I'm talking about. It's the doing for having that it's a little bit it's an unconscious way of doing. So there is also the doing in itself that can be done without that purpose of reach a goal, of changing something, of especially having something that is, maybe having a bigger car because you work harder and you get a bigger paycheck, or it can be like more recognition from other people. Whatever it is, be aware when you do something how much of that believe that you need to have that thing is underlying your doing. So anytime we can do without that goal of having, doing becomes a creative act. That is creativity. So it can be anything. I can wash the floor and just be so present in washing the floor that it becomes a creative act. And so it can be I paint, or I am a sculptor, I make a sculpture, but I don't quite know what is gonna come out of that. And I just let it unfold moment by moment. It can be anything from the simplest act, it can be cooking a meal. I don't like stress out because I have to finish this by that time, and it can be, wow, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. So that takes you into creativity. So the doing becomes creativity. So we go from being to being creative to being. Yeah, we don't actually switch to having, which is really far away from takes us far away from our true nature. So I want to read you something that I found in a beautiful book by Buddhist teacher Tara Brach, and I think she summarized it beautifully in a sentence. It's in a book called Radical Acceptance, and I will actually give you a list of books soon that are like recommended readings that I think you will enjoy a lot. But in a passage she says, in the midst of a pause, we are giving room and attention to the life that is always streaming through us, the life that is habitually overlooked. Yeah, beautifully said. So accessing this vitality, this life that is always streaming through us, and most of the time we are not aware of. Pausing also, it's a beautiful thing to do when, for example, you are becoming suddenly very angry because something has happened. And in pausing, you're able to wait a few moments and respond instead of react. There's a big difference between the two. Reaction is automatic. Response is it comes out of awareness, out of presence. It reminds me of a story that Gurdjieff was a master that was teaching in France in the 50s. Quite a mystic, an amazing teacher. Gurdjieff said, well, my father was so poor that when he died he had nothing to leave for me. But he called me on his deathbed and said, look, I have nothing to leave for you except one thing. And the thing is, what I understood is that, and I hope you will practice this in your life, anytime you become angry with somebody or with anything, instead of expressing that, run around the house 4 times, then sit and watch what happened. And he said, you'll be surprised that energy it seemed to be like the absolute only response possible. You will find that energy has gone somewhere else. It's been transformed. And Gurdjieff said it was an incredible teaching for him when he was young, and it really shaped his whole life, this gift that his father left him. So that's another way of pausing. Instead of pausing, he was running around the house, but it's a similar thing of what I was telling you now. So I hope you will practice this during the day as many times as you can, as many times as you remember, but make it maybe for a week a routine that, okay, anytime I do this action, I pause. Whatever that action is, something you do every day. Okay. And remember to, when you can, there is a link at the end of this video that will take you to the series of these talks. If you can watch them, especially if you started watching this as your first video, just watch them from the beginning. They're like building blocks, so it's very important to see them all. And thank you for listening, and I'll see you next.